Hi, my name is Lineo. I am an ex-Open Windows student. I actually studied visual communication and interaction design, double major, like the crazy person that I am. And I've been working now as a freelance brand and experience designer for product-based brands. Yeah, that's me. So my company name is actually also Dineo. Funny thing, the way you spell my name is Lineo. I'm Sotho, and in Sotho, Li is pronounced as D. And so I decided to name my company after myself, but in a way that teaches people how to say it so that I don't have all the crazy variations of my name. So my company name is dineo.co. Desperation. So a little bit of a story. I graduated in 2018, and then I went on to become a full-time pastor and television director at a local church. In 2021, I resigned from my job because I wanted to work in a creative role in industry, in the actual design industry. But I struggled to find employment because my experience coupled with my double major degree just left a CV that was very confusing, and agencies just did not want to get behind. So I started freelancing. I shared my CV as a carousel on Instagram and grew a community on Instagram to get clients and start my own brand. And I have no regrets about that now, yes. So a little bit about my company. As I said, I double majored in interaction design and visual communication. So that's UX, UI plus brand design. What I started doing was creating brand identity design for clients, but using the insight that I have from being a user experience designer to help them create brands that are not just a logo and a color palette, but actually an experience. So that's what I'm passionate about. I tap into all of my different skills and experiences to create something that is unique and usually for people who care about design in the same way that I care about design. I really enjoy dancing and reading. So I have this thing on my social media, it's called Twerking is my company culture. And I take little twerk breaks in between work to help me cope with work stress. So that's one of my hobbies. Reading as well, I really do enjoy reading. I'm trying to not read so much career development books and go back to a little bit more fiction, but I really do love reading, and being by myself in my apartment is also one of my favorite hobbies. So many people inspire me, and I think for different reasons and different things. There isn't one person that I would look at like, oh, everything they do is everything that I want to do, or everything they do is my source of inspiration. I'm inspired by local designers like Karabo Popi. I also love Nkgabi Mutao. She's a co-founder and head director. Let me say that again. I'm also inspired by Nkgabi Mutao. She's a co-founder of Think Creative, which is a major agency here in South Africa. So her being in a leadership role as a Black female in the industry making waves is incredibly inspiring to me, particularly in agency. I know we have a lot of Black female illustrators and artists, but when it comes to taking on like brand identity marketing roles, you don't often find models and examples of that, so I really look up to her. I'm inspired by a lady named Puno. She's based in California, and she is what she calls a slashy, which I really relate to, being somebody who double majored in both brand design as well as UX design, and being told that you have to pick one and you must find one and you have to have a niche. But what Puno does is she just taps into all of her passions, all of her interests, as a brand designer as well as a web designer to create solutions for her clients. So I'm incredibly inspired by Puno. People who are doing great things inspire me, whether they are designers, whether they are musicians. We just lost AKA. He was a great inspiration to me just for his dedication to his craft. And that is what inspires me. People who love what they're doing, and problem solving. I do not think that creative block is an actual thing. I think that creative block happens when you are out of flow. Oh my gosh, I sound so spiritual, but when I create, I get into a zone, and I usually need at least 4 hours to be on something and have no other disturbances, email, nothing like that. I'm just creating. And so if I'm getting into one of those 4-hour creating sessions and I'm not able to come up with something, it's usually indicative of a problem in some other area of my life, like I haven't eaten, or I'm stressed, or I'm not getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, taking care of myself. So I find that when I prioritize my wellness, taking care of myself, it's easy for me to be creative, and I'll face creative block a lot less. So there's that, but then there's also concept development as a skill. It's not a moment of inspiration that just comes to you and now all the problems are solved. And so I think if you're struggling with creative block, you need to develop your concept development skill. And so it also points to, okay, I need to practice. I need to put in some more passion projects. I need to take time doing things that inspire me and coming up with ideas, because it's just not happening right now. So those are the two ways or two things that I look at when I'm trying to solve the problem of creative block. They were never supposed to be my client. That is the lesson that I have learned. I don't think you get difficult clients. I think you get into projects where the client and the designer are mismatched. I think this happens because often we're not taught how to freelance. So you're going into business with zero business acumen as a creative. And what happens then is you will book clients who are not a good fit for you. And so what I've learned over the past 2 years freelancing is that when I'm on a discovery call, it's not just them, the clients, trying to figure out if they want to work with me. I also need to figure out if I want to work with them. So what I found is clients that end up becoming difficult clients are clients that I did not onboard properly. Maybe I was desperate and I needed a project in that moment and I didn't check for client fit. So the best working environments or situations for me are where clients love my work and my style already and are looking to work with me, not just as someone who's solving a marketing problem, but they love my unique style and the way that I curate and put things together. Finding people who are in sync with you, have the same taste as you, removes the difficulty for the most part. I mean, you can still get in a difficult client, but my biggest lesson is don't work with them in the first place. Yeah. I'm a very systems person, and it's a little bit odd because I am disorganized and organized at the same time. Ask anybody who knows me. It's quite a wild ride. So my process involves a lot of lists and steps. What I found is if I don't know what to do next, that's usually what gets you stuck. And so my process is documented in a spreadsheet, step by step, each thing that I do when I'm creating a brand identity for someone. And then I input that into various apps that prompt me, show up in my email, and tell me what to do when, so that I can be creative. And so knowing what to do next on a project is not creativity. It's just the step that you need to do. And so if I'm wasting time trying to figure out what to do next, then my mental capacity is not going into being creative and solving the problem or producing something that's beautiful. So my process is very, very much step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up until 50, all automated in apps, so that my mind is fully focused on being creative. Yes, that's my process. Plan B by Megan Thee Stallion. That is my favorite song right now. I don't know if you want me to unpack that, but Plan B by Megan Thee Stallion. It's a very empowering song. I love it. I love Meg Thee Stallion. It's quite ironic because I was a full-time pastor and now I love Meg Thee Stallion, but she's really helped me to come out of myself, to believe in myself as a woman, to believe that I have something significant to contribute to the world, and to understand my identity outside of being a wife and a mother. And my life is very much Plan B. I'm currently doing Plan B, and it's going great. That's my favorite song. Okay, my current favorite podcast is called Financial Feminist by Her First 100K. It was started by this lady. Her name is Tori Dunlap, and she managed to save $100,000 by the age of 25. And what she does is she teaches on finances specifically for women. I think there is a difference because women being able to have their own bank account, manage their own finances and lives is a fairly new thing. People want to act like female independence has been around. It hasn't even been 100 years. And so I think there's a different approach when it comes to finances and dealing with shame around not being able to manage or know what to do with your finances. It's very much a man thing to have money and know what to do with money. And she teaches on how to sort of break down those stereotypes and empower yourself as a female to have finances, to manage them well, to know what you're doing without shame, without guilt. So I really love Financial Feminist by Tori Dunlap. I forgot the other ones. Salami sticks from Woolworths. My go-to snack anytime in ICU, when I just woke up at 5 p.m., at 5 a.m., is salami sticks from Woolworths. To be happy. That sounds so generic, but it's actually a very, very deep goal for me. I would like to be happy this year. And I think that's alleviated a lot of the pressure that I felt coming out of, I was a pastor, I wasn't creating much. I basically started my career 2 years ago tomorrow. 2 years ago, I started doing what I'm doing. And so I often struggle with feeling behind. And like my counterparts are so much further, have done so much more with their careers, are, well-traveled, well-experienced, and I'm this senior, junior person thing trying to make it work. And I just realized that for me, it's not about money, it's not about awards, it's not about anything but feeling good about myself every single day. And when I prioritize that, as the goal for the year, then I can create all my other little goals, like how much money do I need to be able to buy salami sticks from Woolworths? That's how my brain works, yes. I do not see myself as an artist in the sense that I expect the work that I'm doing as a brand or experienced designer to carry my own personal expression. I see my work as a brand and experienced designer as work, and I really get fulfillment out of solving problems for my clients. The most exciting part for me, like my one client now, she runs a candle company in Georgia, in the USA, and a major publication in Atlanta just reached out to her. They want to interview her as an upcoming Black female founder. That's where I find my joy and my fulfillment, is that you worked with me and we solved your problem. It really has to be pretty like this because this is what I think is pretty. Like, that doesn't really matter to me. And again, like I said earlier, I work with people who have the same taste as me. We're aligned. We see things the same way. We perceive beauty in similar ways. And so I'm often free to design what I'd like to design. But the fulfillment comes out of actually solving whatever problems my clients had before they engaged me. Yeah. My favorite series is Squid Game. I don't watch series. I'm always working. So when I do watch a series, I binge it. And the last one that I binged was Squid Game. Very, very thought-provoking, beautiful critique of capitalism. You should watch Squid Game. Financial manager, please. I would be a financial manager if I was not a designer. Funny story, I had actually applied to be a financial manager to study that at the University of Pretoria. So I was accepted at Open Window and at the University of Pretoria, and the orientation week was the same week. And that day I decided to come to Open Window. So if I was not doing this, I would be a financial manager. Finances, yes, that's me. Start. A lot of people who are starting businesses or starting their freelance journey get stuck in starting and never actually start. When I was a student, I started my internship in second year. I'm not Open Window, I'm not saying this is what your students have to do, please. I'm just telling you what I did. I started interning in second year. I know it's required in third year, but I started in second year. One thing I didn't do is share my work consistently to social media. I think it was also a little bit of a different time. There was no TikTok. Things were not the way that they are now. But my greatest advice would just be to actually start. Find the simplest thing that you are able to do and go with it. I think we want to figure out a perfect master plan from start to end before we take a step forward. And what I found in my journey is you're not gonna know what to do until you start doing something. So whatever it is that you can do, start. When I left my job, I used my third year brand identity design project and my third year Instagram page to share my CV. It was my logo. I just took, this is what I have. These are the projects I have. This is what I'm going to run with and start. And as I started, I've learned, okay, your portfolio site should actually be like this. This is actually the content you should share to Instagram. This is how you run a business. This is how you do taxes. Maybe you should get an accountant. Maybe you should work with people in Europe rather than America so that the time zone difference is not too hectic. So there are so many things that you will learn, but you're not going to learn anything if you are starting something that you never start. Yes.